Hey there guys, so today I'm back with yet another video, and today's video is slightly different. I'm going to be teaching you how to make this tablet holder, and it doesn't just have to be for your tablet, it could be for any electronic device or even a notebook. And this is going to be more sewing and not really craft. But don't worry, I will carry on doing card making, but I'm also going to incorporate sewing into my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Now I made my own templates just by sketching on scrap paper then cutting them out. But you could go onto Google Images and download one of them, but I'm just going to be showing you how to put it all together. So let's get started. So the things you're going to need is obviously a tablet. Now this is an A5 size, so I'm going to be using my background felt, which is what all of the fabric is, felt. You need double the size of your tablet. So my tablet's A5. This felt is A4. Then you also need some scissors for cutting the thread, some thread, and I just picked a colour that matched all of them, which is just a nice light blue, but you can go for a bold colour if you want to. A button which will be the fastening, and this is a red one which doesn't really match any of the other colours together, but because it'll be on the back, it'll just be with the background colour, so grey and red I thought was quite nice. A needle, I'm going to be using quite a thick one here, just because it's easier to show on camera, but you can use any width you are comfortable with. And then all the other pieces that are cut out for the fox. So I've got ears, I've got a small bit and a big bit, so I've got two of each. I've got the face, which is flat at the top and a bit pointy at the bottom. And then I've got the sides of the face, so if I just show you, it will look something like this. And then we sew the eyes on here using thread. And then I've got my background colour. So what I've now done is marked on using ordinary pencil where I want the eyes to go, and I'm going to be sewing them on with a needle and thread. You could draw eyes on in Sharpie or something, and I'm going to be sewing on just the eyelashes so it looks like it's asleep. So just take one of the sides of the face at a time, and using your needle, make sure it's threaded properly and it's got a knot at the end. Just go from underneath, go up, and I'm going to be using running stitch. And don't make the stitches too big, otherwise they'll become undone. And don't make them too small, otherwise they'll take you a long time. Like that. And then when you're done, we're going to go back over it. What we're going to do is, since the stitching looks like this, if my camera will focus, you've only got half the stitching, so we're going to go back and fill in those gaps. It should now look something like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go along and make the lashes. So all I did is I did another running stitch but in the opposite direction. And just do this all the way along the curve of the eye. When you finished it should look something like this. And all you need to do now is flip it over and tie a double knot to secure the stitching. Just do that to make a loop and then put the needle through the loop and pull, and do this twice. Needle through the thread, through the loop and pull. Then all you need to do is use your scissors to cut it off. Now you should have sewn both of the eye pieces. Just pin the sides of the face to the face, and it should look something like this, so they're not touching and there's a little T shape. Now what we're going to do is, using our thread, make sure it's in the correct needle. I've gone for a slightly thinner one and that it is knotted at the end. We are now going to do a running stitch around the edges of each of these oval shapes. It should now look like this. I like how the stitching is sewn, but if you don't like this, then you can buy special fabric glue off of Amazon, eBay, or even in your local craft shop. Now what I'm going to do is the same for this section of the face. Now all I've done is cut my background piece in half, one for the front and one for the back. And on one of them I've sewn a button. And all you need to do is get a threaded needle tied at the end and just go through the holes in the button. And then on the other side I made a loop for the fastening, and all I did by that was did a running stitch, but I didn't pull it tight, and I made sure this was the right length by putting this at the bottom, putting my tablet down so I'm getting the width correct, and putting that on top and making sure that this will go around the button, which it does. So now you've done that, put the piece with the button on to one side and turn this around so it's the right way up. Now the reason why we sewed this on before fastening on the fox and not last was so that the fox will cover this up, so we wanted to do it before that. Now I've done the same as sewing on the ears as I did with sewing on the sides of the face, so just a simple running stitch, and do that for both of them. And you could have just one colour per ear, but I think this gives it a more it's just a nicer look, and it makes everything blend together, especially with the grey. So what we are going to do is we're going to do running stitch all the way around the fox. Now if you layer it like this, so the ears are behind the orange but on top of the grey, this will make sure that it doesn't look all horrid and too homemade, and it'll look more professional. So what we're going to do now is just sew around the edge of the orange in running stitch. Don't bother about going over here, and I've left it so it overlaps the edge a bit just because that's how I would like it, but you could have it more down here if you don't want anything overlapping. Okay, so I have now finished sewing around the edge of the orange. So the fox face is sewn on, and at the back I just tied it off. Now what we're going to do is do the final step and attach both grey pieces together, so you can use it as a pouch for any electrical items or even a notebook or anything that you want. So you're going to put the fox face down and the button face up. Now we're going to take a threaded needle with a knot at the end, and we're going to do a blanket stitch down this edge, and that edge. We're not doing it across here because that's where you're going to slip in anything you want to. If you don't know what a blanket stitch is, then don't worry, I'm going to show you. If you still don't understand, then I'm sure there's many other tutorials on how to do it. So all you need to do is make sure that everything is lined up and that it's not out of place. You can use pins, clips or anything if you want to. Now you're going to get your pin, and with one edge you're going to just push it up. This will hide the knot so you can't see it and it looks more professional. Now what you're going to do is just put a stitch here and go around. I'm using quite a long thread so it could get knotted. And the first one always makes a triangle shape, but don't worry about that. So what you're going to do is you're just going to make sure it's lined up properly. Put your needle in here, push it through, put this around the back of the needle and pull the needle all the way up. Ooh. And it should look something like this. And we're going to do that all the way around the 3 edges. I finished blanket stitching all around these 3 edges and I've tied off my loose thread. I have now finished my tablet pouch and I love it. I think it's really good. It's so customizable. You don't have to do a fox. You could do any other animal you want. If you want to add things down here, maybe put someone's name. I think these are really quick and easy, very inexpensive presents for Christmas or birthdays. Even the back looks really great and I think it's really cool, especially if you want to take it to school or work, then you're just giving it something else and not having a boring black case. And I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it and subscribe to my channel, and don't worry, I'll be back with more craft videos after this. Goodbye.